it's not about how many times you get knocked down. It's that you
get back up.
You get back up. You
Yeah.
keep moving forward.
Yep.
Okay. Today, we are doing an episode of Entrepreneurial Chronicles, and I've got a super cool guest here. Her name is Lisa Carney, and she is a small business boutique owner that as I'm reading in her bio, she has actually quite the story, a little bit of a roller coaster ride leading her through her entrepreneurial journey. But very happy to have you on, Lisa. I guess I'm looking forward to hearing your story as a whole. How are you this evening?
I'm doing great, and thanks for having me too. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. I mean, let's jump right in with the actual bio side of this. Do you want to tell us a little bit about how your journey started when it comes to your chosen career, entrepreneurship, how it kind of led up to where you are now?
Sure. I'm kind of old in the game of boutique business. I'll tell you, there's a lot of boutique owners that are very young. So I started out more in the banking and did car loans at a local credit union, and then that went into mortgages. And I just was feeling like really like dead inside, basically.
That's what I was about to say. Is I'm sitting there going, if you gravitated towards a boutique, and I know that mortgages are kind of boring, behind a desk, certain a little bit of monotonous, not necessarily something that was a good fit.
Yeah, I sat behind a desk, from 9 to 5, and just looking at paperwork and processing loans. But I was a single mom, so I did that for the paycheck, I guess.
Just doing the grind, doing what you got to do to pay the bills. Yep.
And didn't finish college, so I was, I guess, happy with that and didn't think. I don't know if I even knew that I was capable, I guess, of owning a business at that time.
Well, and I mean, I know that a lot of people say you got to go to school, you got to get the degree, you've got to learn but I've been in business long enough to know that most of the time I'll be the first to say that when you get the degree, the first thing you need to do is forget everything you learned in school if you're actually going to go into business. So you might have actually had a leg up in that, in not going to school and learning.
Maybe.
That's
Yeah.
Okay, so you're coming through the mortgage industry and you decide it's time for a change?
Yeah, so I always enjoyed shopping at boutiques, and
most women do.
Yeah, but back then, honestly, there wasn't a lot of boutiques in Indiana. Like there was 2 of them in Indy that I visited a lot, and then when I traveled, I always sought out local boutiques.
So I mean, and I guess I'm a guy. The difference. What would be the difference? What would classify as a boutique as opposed to a female? I mean, I'm saying that in thinking a boutique, I'm going to assume is just like totally geared towards females. So what would be the difference between a boutique and, I don't know, going to a Macy's or a JCPenney's or?
Yeah. 2 things. One, my first boutique, I actually did carry men's.
Okay.
But it's specifically curated by the owner. So it has more of a specific vibe than maybe a Macy's. It's not
so you're not just going
all like type.
Okay, so you're not
shopper.
actually buying stuff and just buying it from a manufacturer and then hanging it out there for sale. You're actually adding personal touches to it?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
And it's for a specific person, basically. So whereas I assume Macy's would want, anybody and everybody to be their customer, it's more trend driven, I guess.
Okay.
And back then in 2006, it was very celebrity driven.
Really?
So yeah, so like lines that I would carry, I would order, the different styles that would be coming up. They would actually send me pictures of celebrities wearing that, so I could like post it or have the picture out at the boutique next to the item.
Okay, and I'm just saying that this would be like pre-internet times?
Well, yeah, there was Facebook, but Facebook was very like, at the colleges.
Still, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was, I call it Britney Spears, Paris Hilton era.
Yep.
So, and Lindsay Lohan and all them,
Okay.
But it's true. I know, and for someone maybe not coming in that world, you may not
No, and that's
know
what I was going to
that,
say.
but
I mean, I'm familiar with the drama of the headlines they made, but no, not necessarily
what they wore and
yeah,
stuff.
the fashion aspect of it.
Yeah. And so the brands I carried at that time too, maybe was a little bit pricier or whatever.
Okay.
But that's kind of what was available then as far as boutiques.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm thinking that if
Back
it's
then.
more specialized, it's going to be pricier in general, but I mean, more unique,
Yeah.
more
But
individualistic.
today, now it's very affordable.
Really?
Like a
Okay.
boutique, yeah.
Okay. So, from what I'm reading, you started, and that was your first attempt.
Yeah, so 2006 was when I decided to open up a boutique in Lafayette, Indiana. And even though I lived in Kokomo, but I thought I did the research, and research told me that college towns.
So you opened up on the west side of Lafayette then?
Yeah, closer
Okay.
to there. But it was a very high rent.
Mm-hmm.
And, I learned some valuable lessons.
Some painful lessons,
Yeah,
maybe?
I did. So, they say location, 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 but what happened to me was just starting out and being a small business. Like I couldn't keep up with that rent.
Well, I mean, because we've got plenty of time. Let's dive into that. Okay. Because, I mean, again, with this being, I'm just really big about, one of the reasons I'm doing this podcast is that, I think if anybody wants to get into entrepreneurship, that's water's warm. You should pursue your dreams. But when I started business in 2005, the internet age wasn't out there, the easy access to information. So when I say that you should start business eyes wide open, and know what you're getting into. Well, back then that information wasn't out there. There wasn't people that were like putting real information out there about what it truly means to be an entrepreneur, what it means to start a small business. So I could tell that there's a little bit of pain there in remembering that, but if there's a lesson there, okay, well then that's definitely worth talking about, because we want to put those lessons out there. We want people to be looking out for those kinds of things to
it's the
to
reality
help them avoid.
of opening a business. And
Exactly. So what? Yes, location, but I will, like even myself, trying to open up on US 31 and paying for traffic count, rents double or triple. And I personally have chose to open up in like large veins or arteries inside of a community as opposed to the throughway, because you could see that rents virtually double.
Yeah.
So yes, that's what I'm sitting there going, where when you say location, finding yourself in a strip mall or a major mall, or it's just found yourself in a location where they sold you that you would just make your millions and you'd be willing to pay
it was a new strip mall, literally brand new. It was the first tenant in that space. There were other retailers going in, but it was on their main highway there, and actually it was Creasy and 26 was the intersection.
Yep.
So the traffic
familiar.
was crazy, but again, I just learned a big lesson. I thought, so anyone who's listening, don't take the mindset of build it and they will come, because that is just not how it happens.
Well, and I do want to say, just matter of personal opinion, if you are selling into a convenience market, well, then you need a very convenient location in a high traffic area. But a boutique like that's like a destination. So I'm sitting there thinking, I would think that you would be able to get away with a lower traffic area as long as you knew your audience and knew how to promote to them.
Yeah.
Because you don't see a boutique on every corner.
Right.
You see a gas station on every corner. In a lot of ways, you'll see potentially a coffee shop on every corner, but you're not going to see a boutique on every corner.
And start out and see where your sales are going to be if you're going to grow into a space like that. But I had no idea what my sales were going to be.
So you just jumped in with both feet?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did that play out then?
I plodded along for a few months. Again, there was no Facebook was happening in that area because of Purdue, but and I had a girl working for me that would post things on Facebook that the Purdue students, could see. But as far as advertising, you have to pay, but I did it all. I did a commercial, I did a billboard, I did radio, I did newspaper, and that's big money.
That's what I was about to say. If you did all of that, you spent a lot of money.
Yeah.
Wow. So, okay, I mean, painful lesson. I mean, what was the end result? I mean,
it really like hit me hard, and I have to say, so it took me a while to like bounce back, and I'd have to say like cut your ego a little bit, and like, I really sucked at that, so I'm never going to try that again, you know. But I ended up, so I had a website actually that Scared Rabbit set up for me.
yeah, I saw that in the bio itself.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there going, okay, early years.
So I was selling off just, a little bit off the website and then some on eBay. So I just moved the location to Kokomo there at Webster Plaza.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so a lot of the brands wanted me to have a brick and mortar to sell to me. So I just opened that up to try to focus on online.
Oh, so you're saying your distributors had not been embracing the online. They wanted you to have brick and mortar.
So different back then, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
they would not let you,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Okay, so you move back to Kokomo and you open up in Webster Plaza, and I'm pretty familiar with that, but I didn't realize you were located over there.
Yeah. Not a lot of people did.
Okay, so where does it go from there? I mean, obviously you had started to embrace the internet craze that was starting to develop. I don't know if that was necessary. I mean, would you consider that early? Or were you ahead of the times on that, or were you having success in the
I think
internet?
I might have been if I maybe hung in there a little bit longer, but blogging and things like that were coming out. So I was blogging, again, Facebook. There was no real like Instagram. So I did that through 2011, and I feel like I got familiar with Instagram in 2012.
Okay.
But I feel like Instagram completely changed the industry, at least as far as like boutiques. I mean,
I'm gonna be honest. Like, I embraced Facebook. Oh, I would say probably 2014, and it's only been within the last couple of years that I've actually paid attention to Instagram. And I look back and I'm like, you're right. Instagram really did change the game itself. And in a lot of ways, I feel like I missed the boat, at least for all of that organic traffic and following that I know is out there with Instagram now.
Yeah. It's been a game changer, I think. I always say that for small business owners. It wasn't like, we had to pay for radio and TV and billboard. And
so
you couldn't really track, like the results of that really.
No way to quantitate.
Yeah.
And that was, and I mean, because that, you said that you'd seen my episodes where I interviewed Alan.
Yeah.
And I mean, in a lot of ways, I love radio. I mean, I loved radio just because it was what helped me get off the ground. But you're right. It's a lot harder to quantitate the results and the people that you're actually reaching. So you're still back then, you're still in Webster Plaza. How are you feeling about embracing the internet? Because by your bio, you decided to go another direction.
Yeah, I think I just like plodded along, and then I'm like, it's time I just actually make money, and just put this aside.
Wore you down a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I totally told myself I was absolutely 100% would never, try that risk, take that risk again. Mm-hmm. It just was too much of a sacrifice for me, like financially and my time. Took me away from my family. So I was like, nope, I will never do that again.
Now, did you see that as I hear all the stories where people talk about, this big risk and sacrifice that you have to make to be in business. And over the years, I've looked back and been like, it is. But from my perspective, it's not a big risk. It's all of the small risks and all of the small sacrifices that you look back and they built up into this massive risk and sacrifice that you've made. I mean, same perspective, or do you feel like it just all kind of crept up on you and beat you down quickly? I hate to put it like that, but I mean, that's what happens in entrepreneurship. You're going to take risks and there's rewards, but it's a risk. It doesn't, the reward doesn't always occur.
Maybe if I looked at it like a side hustle, but it was my life, and I was like obsessed with it and just put so much effort into it. So it felt like a really big hit at the time.
So, I mean, you don't strike me as somebody that necessarily has confidence issues, but I mean, you're using the word ego, which is, I don't hear too many women that actually acknowledge hits to their ego. Generally, it's a man thing.
No, it's not like I had a big ego at all. But what I mean by that is going out into something else. I went into real estate, became a realtor. I have to say I wasn't feeling that confident.
Really?
Yeah, I wasn't like thinking, oh, I'm going to take the world by storm and I'm going to be the best realtor. It was I was a little defeated, I guess, going out. You know.
You're still deflated from the previous experience itself, or just not really picking up the vibe?
Just like, man, maybe I don't know, like, because my intuition told me so, like, I was so right on a good path. I really believed in it, I guess, is what I mean. And then I guess realizing and come to the terms, like, didn't work out like you thought.
No, and I mean, because you're saying that, and I'm sitting there remembering a book, and I was like, 3 Feet from Gold. I think it was 3 Feet from Gold. I mean, the whole premise of the book is that you dig and you dig and you dig and you just finally give up, only for somebody else to come along and just dig that extra 3 feet and really tap into the gold itself, because you were in the social media early on, where that's got to be, you look back and be like, you know what, had I had another 6 months, another year, you really could have struck gold.
Yeah, I would say that's exactly true. Yeah, like another year. Yeah.
So regret, or are you the type of person that experiences regret?
No, I don't regret it now. I mean, I'm definitely, like I said, I learned a lot. So, and I guess thankful for that too.
There you go. I mean, and that's good because I mean, a lot of, I don't want to beat up on people, but I mean, so many people will regret and they will blame instead of finding the lesson for growth, instead of being grateful for the actual experience, because you're able to take the knowledge and move forward in general.
Yeah.
So how did you carry that? I mean, because it says that you actually did pretty well in the real estate game itself.
Yeah.
So
no, when I look back now, I realized what I learned going through the first boutique is, well, let me back up. So I feel like what I learned from being a realtor is putting myself out there, getting involved in the community, whereas maybe the first boutique, I wasn't as involved out into the community because I was in Lafayette and I was really focused on online, and that helped me become more of a social person and getting out there. And then the first boutique experience just helped me with being, I don't want to say conservative, because being a business owner, obviously you have to take risks and chances, but it really made me, think about things before I make decisions, and
there'll be introspective, maybe
start maybe smaller on situations and see how it goes instead of just like jumping in and, if I want to grow the boutique and the inventory, then I'll just like buy a little bit more and see, does that sell? Does that handle it? Buy a little bit more shoes, instead of going all out.
Be a little bit more measured in your actions themselves.
Yeah.
Okay. So how long were you selling real estate?
About 7 years.
Okay, so you really, I mean, that's a good amount of time to actually, one of the things that I love about Kokomo is that, that they really do embrace small business. So I can look back on my journey and be like, I really have to be thankful for Kokomo, the way they have embraced. But 7 years is a long time to actually build those connections inside of the community in general.
Yes.
Would you say that a lot of what you're doing right now has a lot to do with the Kokomo community itself, or?
Yes. And I met a lot of people through working through real estate, and, that's important, making connections and meeting people. That's definitely helped. Like when I first opened Standards and had the opening party, I feel like the first, month, 2 months was all the people that I've met and reached out to through real estate.
So all of those relationships.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So you get out, or no, I guess I shouldn't even go that far. You start coming up on the end of your journey in real estate, but something, you're making money, but something just doesn't feel right. You're You're just going to all of a sudden,
Well,
you've thought about those lessons, but enough time has passed that it's numb, and now you're just ready to throw caution to the wind again?
yeah, maybe I'm the type of person that once I get something down pat, then I'm just like, well, what's the next thing that
There
I
we
can
go.
do? But, I mean, real estate has its, good points. I'm not saying that, but I just always say there's nothing like fun about being a realtor. I mean, it's just, it's a lot of work, and I'm not the type of person that I was able to learn how to detach myself from my work. So when problems arise, which they often do in real estate, I didn't know how to, I guess, detach myself, and there was just nothing, there was no creative outlet through real
Because
estate.
I'm sitting there, I was about ready to crack a joke. I'm like, so you're going to go back into business where you can't detach and you have to be responsible for everything?
Yeah. Well, that's true. I guess it's just something I care about, I guess, more too.
Yeah.
So,
No, a personal
yeah.
passion. Totally understand.
Yeah.
But the boutique is the creative. So you would say you're maybe a little more right-brained as far as getting into the creative itself.
Yeah.
So you open up Standards, and how has that roller coaster been for you?
Well, the building, Strickler's building, was for sale, and I just was thinking, well, this should be such a cute place for a boutique. But I always was thinking, well, someone else, it'd be a cute place for a boutique.
And that someone else became the new you.
Yeah. I had a few conversations with people, and then they were like, well, didn't you used to have a boutique? You should open a boutique. And I kept thinking about how Instagram has changed so much.
Seed was planted.
Yeah. So it kind of started with the building first.
Which real estate background gave you a little bit of knowledge on that end of it then?
Yeah, I thought it'd be perfect, and it has ended up being a perfect. I love the location. I love the building.
So how many years has Standards been open?
3.5. We celebrate 3 in September, so yeah, 3.5.
And how's your social game working out then?
Good. We have about a year and a half ago, I was able to hire someone just to handle all the social media stuff for me. I mean, she works for me there, but we do a lot for social media.
Well, I mean, and that's where we're getting into the meat and potatoes of it. I mean, Standards is your baby. It's up and running successfully. So what is it that defines Standards outside of you when it comes to the boutiques industry itself?
Well, I think that we have the best fashion. We're very on trend. A lot of people who come in there still, like I still get on the weekly people coming in there. When did you guys open? I can't believe this is in Kokomo. I had one lady come in there a couple weeks ago and say that she was in when I first opened, and she thought that I was just a pop-up from like California or something.
I mean, that's a new trend right there, the pop-up stores itself. But okay.
Yeah, she's like, I didn't realize that this was, you were here permanently in Kokomo. So definitely we're a place, and I'm very much on the ambient, the vibe and the atmosphere. When women shop, they want to feel special, and so I'm big on we have the selfie wall and shoe wall and just how things are laid out to make the shopper feel special.
The experience.
The experience, I think, is very important. Yeah.
Okay, so loyal customer base. I mean, I'm assuming that you've gotten back into the e-commerce side of it.
Oh yeah, that was from day one we did. So yeah, we're averaging maybe 3 sales online a day, going outside of Indiana, and repeat customers definitely. We see customers sometimes 2-3 times a week,
really?
Because we get new arrivals every day.
So that's what I was about to say. So where is your inspiration coming now for your fashion?
Oh, that's a good question. Social media is just huge in my industry. So it's influencers, celebrities, even just TV, like what you see on the new TV shows. What's the one? Bridgerton or whatever.
I'm going to be honest, because there came a time where I cut out all of the TV because I didn't want the negativity in my life. So I've also coincidentally cut out some of those, like I like to call them brain dead shows, where I just have to enjoy it, but not I deeply pay attention to it.
Yeah.
So yes, when you start talking about that, I'm like, I don't, engrossed myself a whole lot more in books here lately, so I'm not overly familiar with the actual TV
that is not our
shows,
customer. It's just pop culture, and they're making another Legally Blonde, so our vendors are saying, hey, they're making another Legally Blonde, so when that comes out, it's going to be about sets, and like, because that's what they wear. I feel like you have no idea what I'm talking about.
No, I don't, honestly. But I'm interested. By all means, go ahead. I mean, do elaborate.
But anyway, that's where you get your inspiration from.
Okay.
Is I'm just going to leave it at that, pop culture, and social media.
Very good. No, I mean, the thing is, though, that creative is so hard to value because that vision of knowing what you want to put together, but literally you get one of my guys, Matt, I will talk about how I can visualize something, and he'll be like, no, you're just going to have to put it together and show me. I can't quite visualize it. But for your industry, you do have to literally be able to close your eyes and visualize and see an end product, and then go about pulling the pieces together themselves and producing it to show other people the end product itself.
Yeah. And styling, that's big on our social media, so that's a good point. Yeah, we not only sell this shirt, but this is how you style it. This is how you wear it with this, with that, going. And I always like to give examples, like this is a cute outfit just to pick the kids up from school, or this is a cute outfit to go to the airport, to wear on the airplane, to, so they can visualize.
You're really setting the scene by saying.
But that's how women do it. And they're like, yeah, let's be comfortable to wear on the airplane. So that's how they have to visualize.
Okay. Oh, so that's just and again, we get it. So that's a woman thing that actually.
I think so.
You think so? I mean, I don't know, because I'm a blue jean guy. I'm like, well, blue jeans are comfortable to go to dinner, and shy going to bed. I'm not. Blue jeans are comfortable to wear everywhere, but I'm going to assume that that doesn't necessarily fly with women.
Well, I like to diversify, and yeah.
Oh, that's one thing I have noticed about fashion today is that it seems like the clothing looks like it has been beat up and cut up to the point that for me, I would throw that away. I would be like, okay, I'm done with that. To which I would see other people, mostly women, that would be like, oh no, that's fashion now. That I wouldn't have wore it if it was all one actual garment, not actually cut up. I mean, is that?
Yeah, we have a pair of straight jeans in now. So it's all about the 90s straight jeans right now. So we have these jeans in now that are just shredded.
Really?
Yeah.
And that 90s. So again, you're saying that would be old trends are renewing in general?
Yeah, it's totally 90s revival right now.
Really?
Yeah.
So where does the 80s come into this? I mean, like, I remember being an 80s kid, but I'm sitting there going, I guess that the leggings was like a new version of a flashback of the leotards.
Yeah, and we have bodysuits. So bodysuits, I mean, even 70s, I think they wore bodysuits. But yeah.
But I remember these really big, like, I don't know, flared out socks, but they went up to your knees, but it would cover where your legs would. I don't see that part of the trend actually coming back.
Oh, no. Like leg warmers?
Yeah, okay. Exactly.
Yeah. Got to keep your legs warm.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they are selling those right now.
No, and you know what? No, I'm more of a jovial. The stuff that I see being wore today, I am looking back into my childhood, and I'm like, they wouldn't have let you wear that stuff into school when I was a kid. I don't know, maybe they would, but they didn't, and I know that they were pretty hardcore on dress code back then. So what I see people wearing now, I'm like, I'm not mad. I mean, I see the style of it in general. I'm just like, I don't think that would have actually went over real well in the 80s and 90s in general. But I don't know, maybe I am a little bit old school. I
don't know.
Okay, so where do you see the trends going in the future? Because, I mean, you open a business, the whole point of being a successful business is that you're going to open your doors for the next 10, 15, 20 years, which means you got to be dialed into this for the long term.
I think most of the time, the brands tell us too where the trends are going. And, sometimes there's trends that come and I'm like, I don't know if Kokomo's ready, for that. Like right now it's really big on crop tops, but I don't think my customer is a crop top wearer, but that's what a lot of the brands are giving us.
Really?
Yeah. Again, going back to 90s, that was the 90s.
Well, and I mean, that's, like I said, I'm prefacing this statement with, I love Kokomo. I love Kokomo. Kokomo seems to be behind the times, at least from my estimations from what
and
I
I
see.
used to think that when I had my first boutique, I think that's why I was like, oh, I got to go to Lafayette. But actually, I've been one thing was surprised by and have learned with standards is there are a lot of women out there who know what's in and the trends, and they just weren't being provided that.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, there are a lot of women out there that come in and they like get it and they know. Yeah.
Coming from, I'm assuming, their own social media and finding out what's actually going
social
on
media,
out there.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you see yourself trending more towards the online and the e-commerce side of it, or?
That's what I'm working on to grow, and it has been growing. It's just a slow, it's a slower process than had I maybe got on the Instagram trend in like 2012 when I think it was more organic. And
so that's just about to say, how does this play into something like TikTok? I mean, is there any play there to be had? Or?
Yeah, there is, and we're trying to build an audience on TikTok too. And we do it all. So we do the reels, we do the Instagram, we do Facebook Lives, we do TikTok and Pinterest and all that good stuff.
And speaking from experience, I mean,
YouTube.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to literally try for an omnipresence out there, it's a lot. I mean, like I'm sitting there going, if you are literally employing somebody that is doing this, you've got to be consuming a lot of hours to actually to touch all of those different platforms and actually keep a social presence going.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. So I do have 4 employees now. I think I read this article one time, and I think you'll probably agree with this, but you didn't know that the writer was talking about himself, but he was a small business owner, and he was talking about his best employee, and he was saying, he can ask his best employee to clean the toilets, and he will, and to stay later and work on inventory or do without a paycheck because to pay the bills. And anyway, he was talking about himself.
Okay.
So I think as a small business owner,
but that's, and I guess we should, touch on that in itself. In order to be an entrepreneur, you have so many different hats that you have to wear. What hats do you enjoy wearing? What hats are you wearing because you know that you have to wear them because you're a business owner? What hats do you delegate off to other people? I mean, it's that old saying that don't work in the business, work on the business. Where do you see yourself in that spectrum of business itself?
I enjoy most probably working with customers, being on the sales floor, doing the buying. I enjoy the social media as well, but it is so time consuming making those videos and everything. So I would say that's not something that I would be good at. So I have someone do that.
And that's finding out
and cleaning, changing the mannequins and all that good stuff. But I'm big on cleaning because no one wants to buy a pair of sunglasses that have like dust on them or,
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I'm like, for employees, how did you go about finding employment or finding talent to actually work? I don't know about you, but speaking from, finding good people and finding talent has become harder and harder over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
I think some of it for obvious reasons, but how are you dealing with that? I guess we should go back because I'll circle back around to that. How did you deal with 2020 and everything that happened in 2020?
Well, going back to, learning how to be conservative. So I went and contacted the vendors. They were, very understanding. So I canceled a lot of orders. instead of trying to get them in and figuring out how to sell them. It happened around Easter time, so I was getting a lot of like Easter dresses in and like heels. Well, no one's going to be wearing heels, so I worked with vendors. The ones I could cancel, I canceled. The ones, that I couldn't, that I worked with, and said, hey, can I swap them out with like loungewear or like, sweats, because people were staying home. And then doing a lot of lives and just showing on stories. We switched, and we still have to this day, and it's been popular, switched over our website where they could choose local pickup and have that available.
So you kept going.
Yes.
Okay.
Changed,
lot of it
yeah.
Changed, exactly.
Yeah.
Changed gears.
Yeah.
Which was very difficult for a lot of people to do in general. So the storefront itself wasn't actually operating, but you were able to actually make that shift into a new market or a new way of serving your market.
Yes. And I feel like it actually kind of kept the ball rolling, though, with online orders, because it got our customers used to, maybe just shopping online while they're at work and then clicking local pickup and then swinging by and just picking it up
on their way home.
Yeah.
Okay. So, that's where you really did have to employ, because I've wondered about that when for apparel, I shouldn't say that with the advent of what's going on today. It was a shift of, you want to see, you want to feel, you want to touch, you want to try on. And then it's looking at a picture going, oh, I like that. My size, click, purchase. Does that turn into a bunch of returns? Because if somebody's coming into your boutique and trying something on, if it fits, they're going to buy it and they're going to walk out with it.
Yeah.
But obviously, when that gear changed, well, you're not able to let people actually try things on. And so does that equal in more returns? Or is it just knowing your customer base, and that was just not something that you actually had to get over?
As far as local customers, I don't think so. I think I didn't see more returns from local customers or anything.
You knew your people pretty well then.
Yeah, and they knew the brands I carried, and they knew, sizing and quality and all that.
So then we do get to employees. You said you employ 4 people. 4 long-term people, or 4 positions that you've had some turnover and rotation in?
Well, I just kind of added a 4th position, so it's been 3.
Okay.
So I just hired my first full-time employee.
Really?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. I think the tough thing for my industry in the boutique world is there's so many boutiques like online and on social media, different cities or whatever. And I think a lot of, especially young girls, see the boutique industry, I guess, as just being fun. And we're, playing with clothes, and we're trying on clothes, and we're taking pictures of ourselves in clothes, and not realizing the work, I guess. So when I interview them, I really, try to drive home that, there's work involved.
There is work fun.
Yeah, there is work involved. Yes, it's fun, and I try to make it fun, but, it is work at the end of the day. Steaming clothes is not fun, necessarily, but it has to be done. Mm-hmm. So I think it's trying to find the right talent who's there, who has a good work ethic, that's not there just to take a picture of themselves.
So how's that been going? Is that a success or?
Yeah, so far I feel like, with except for a couple of instances, I've had pretty good luck with girls who are excited to help the boutique grow. Like, they get excited when we reach a milestone or something good happens.
Well, and that's what I said. So when you get to milestones, then you got to be talking about a vision. So you're conveying your vision to them.
Yes.
So what would you say would be your vision for what you are working on over the next 2, 5, ideally 10 years? You look like you have plenty of life left in you, so obviously this is an endeavor that is going to go for an extended amount of time. What kind of plans do you have for standards on the horizon?
Oh gosh, well, see, this is where it goes back to my last failure, if you want to call it that, because I'm scared to say it.
If it's
I'm
a
scared
lesson,
to say
if it's a lesson, it's not a failure. You fail when you quit, but that's
Yeah. Unless, the economy tells me otherwise, I definitely want to grow the online sales, and I would love to one day have like a warehouse and be selling online more, and just growing in that way.
Okay, that's so on taking it to really exploiting the digital side and actually moving things.
Yeah.
Predominance of it online. Then
yes, but it's a tough market. So.
It really, well, I mean, I don't know about you, but I paid $75 to fill up my Durango yesterday. I mean, it's a tough market. That's what I'm like. I believe it was like $4.50 a gallon, and I'm sitting here going, I sincerely hope that this is not going to last for long.
I know, that's the same.
So how do you feel about the country as a whole? I mean, you feel like we're thriving and business is good? I know that's kind of I'm not trying to put necessarily a loaded question there, but I mean, if you've been in business long enough that you've got a good feel for.
Yeah, I seen that first recession in 2008 and 2009 and how that affected, my business. So I'm definitely aware of things that are going on, and it's always concerns me. And then I have to, keep a balance to it, I guess, and the presence that I have to the public, or what I present to the public, because I sell clothes, so it can look shallow sometimes if the country is struggling because of COVID or war. Now that a lot of people are watching that, so I try to always be aware of that and share something in stories of. I hate saying it because it got so cliche, but we're all in this together, and to I guess acknowledge it, because I realize I am just selling clothes, but it's also an escape, if you will, for women. A lot of women will go in there and shop just because they had a bad day, and you can just see them in their stress shopping. It is a stress reliever.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. That's your market. So it's
just something that makes them feel good. Just something that's positive.
No, and I'm giving our bougie blonde Dawn. I was giving her a hard time because it was it's that feeling to shop. Now they will logically say, oh, it's a sale, but the sale is just so that you can connect that dot of it's just a feeling that you actually want to shop. And I mean, generally speaking, I mean, call it cliche, women generally love to shop for clothes. So.
Yes, yeah. It's just a mood lifter, you're having a bad day and you're like, I just got to get some time to myself and do some shopping, and you just feel better.
No, I like I said, that's what I mean, because that goes back to the better you look, the better you feel.
Yep.
And
100%.
you were offering a way for a person's personality to express themselves. Does that sound about right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I love seeing that in women when they come, and it is a mood lifter. Yeah.
All right. So as we start to wrap up this podcast, I like to let everybody know that I tried to put this podcast on because I'm trying to inform people out there on principles of success, both in life and business. So in your life and in your entrepreneurial journey, do you have any principles out there that you would like to share or impart for the listeners themselves, for things anybody that might be listening and they're looking for those tips on principles of success in life and business?
Yeah, I think that's an awesome question. I do want to jump back to something else that you asked about what's the difference between shopping at Macy's or shopping at a boutique. And that really is developing relationships and having that personalized shopping experience. But it's about being genuine and coming from a genuine place, not just trying to sell something, but it's about learning about your customer, her life, and developing that relationship.
And so it always comes back to the relationship, and that's something that those big box stores aren't capable of actually doing.
Yeah, and just being real and authentic and being yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
Is also a good key to success, I think, especially when you're out there with the public. As far as any advice I would have with life, it's really about resiliency and getting back up. We're all going to fall down. We're all going to have setbacks, but it's just getting right back up and starting the new day and starting over. And sometimes we have to kind of regroup and redirection our focus. But if we just keep getting back up and remember what, got us going in the first place, I think we'll all find our way.
No, and I absolutely, I agree, because life really is about connectivity and coming back to relationships. And at the end of the day, I don't think it's not about how many times you get knocked down. It's that you
get back up.
You get back up. You
Yeah.
keep moving forward.
Yep.
Okay. So as we do start to bring this podcast to a close, you have both brick and mortar and you have a virtual or you have a way for people to find you on the internet.
Yeah.
How do they find you both as far as storefront in Kokomo and where do they find you or your store online?
Well, in Kokomo, we are located on South of Fountain, 3210 South of Fountain, where the old Strickler building is. Everyone knows where that was if you're in Kokomo. And then shopstandardsboutique.com is our website. Everything that's in our boutique is on the website. Local residents can click local pickup, or we have shipping.
Save a couple bucks by local pickup.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Okay. And then our Instagram is @standardsbtq.
There we go. Okay, so at the end of it all, we're gonna start wrapping this up. But I definitely want to invite everybody to check Lisa out, either locally or online. I say everybody. I should probably, as I've learned, keep this at females or males that want to come in to
shop for their lady.
Shop for their ladies. That definitely stop in and check her out. And I do want to say that if you guys have learned anything from this, definitely leave a review, definitely share the show, and definitely come back next time. But until next time, we will see you guys later. Have a good day.